In this video, we're going to talk about something many older adults in the US think about but rarely discuss openly: whether moving in with your children after 70 is truly a good idea. On the surface, it sounds comforting and practical. You imagine being surrounded by family, sharing meals, laughter, and support. But for many seniors, what begins as a loving decision slowly turns into one filled with hidden challenges: emotional strain, loss of independence, and unexpected tension within the family. As you'll see in this video, living with your children can sometimes take away more than it gives. It can quietly affect your peace of mind, your freedom, and even your sense of self. We'll explore the real reasons why so many seniors who make this move later wish they'd thought twice. Each reason comes from real experiences, common situations, and lessons learned by older adults just like you. And before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Would you ever consider living with your children in your later years, or do you prefer your own space and privacy? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone else who's struggling with the same choice. 1. Loss of independence and control. One of the first and hardest things many seniors notice after moving in with their children is how quickly their independence begins to fade. At first, it seems like nothing to worry about. Your children are helping you with groceries, setting doctor's appointments, or reminding you to take your medicine. It feels nice to be cared for. But slowly, you start realizing that your daily choices no longer belong to you. The rhythm of your life begins to follow someone else's schedule: their meal times, their routines, their house rules. You might still be loved deeply, but you're no longer in charge of your own day. Many older adults say this is one of the most painful parts of living with family. You go from being the one who made decisions for decades to being someone who must ask or wait for approval. It's subtle at first, but over time it can feel like your voice matters less. You may even stop expressing what you want because you don't want to sound demanding or ungrateful. But holding back your opinions slowly eats away at your confidence. The emotional impact can run deep. When you're not making your own choices, what to eat, when to rest, or even how to spend your evenings, it can lead to frustration, sadness, or a quiet sense of loss. You might find yourself thinking, "I used to live on my own terms." That thought alone can bring both nostalgia and pain. Losing independence isn't just about control, it's about dignity. It's about feeling capable and respected. Once that slips away, it becomes very hard to get it back. That's why it's so important to think carefully before giving up your own space, because your independence isn't just part of your lifestyle, it's part of who you are. 2. Emotional strain and unspoken tension. Living with your children can sound warm and comforting in the beginning, but over time, it can quietly build emotional strain for both sides. Families usually start with the best intentions: everyone wants to help, support, and be close. But sharing a home means sharing moods, habits, and frustrations too. What starts as love and goodwill can turn into tension that no one talks about openly. You might begin to feel like you're walking on eggshells, careful not to say or do anything that might upset someone. Maybe you worry that asking for small things, like turning down the TV or helping with a ride, will make you seem demanding. Your children may also feel pressure to do everything right, balancing their own work, kids, and your needs all at once. Even when everyone means well, that stress builds up, and small misunderstandings can turn into big emotional gaps. Many older adults describe feeling in the way, or invisible, even when surrounded by family. It's not because anyone is cruel, it's just that daily life together can blur the lines between love and obligation. Over time, you might notice less laughter, fewer honest talks, and more quiet distance. You sense something has changed, but no one wants to admit it for fear of hurting each other. This emotional tension can slowly take a toll on your health too. Constant worry, guilt, or sadness can affect your sleep, your energy, and your peace of mind. You may begin to miss the freedom of living on your own, where you could simply be yourself without feeling judged or in the way. That's why it's important to remember, love doesn't always need to live under the same roof. Sometimes, staying separate actually keeps the heart closer. 3. Loss of privacy and personal space. One of the most overlooked struggles older adults face after moving in with their children is the quiet loss of privacy. When you've lived independently for decades, you get used to certain freedoms, having your own quiet mornings, choosing how to spend your evenings, or simply enjoying the comfort of being alone when you need to think or rest. But once you move into someone else's home, even if it's your own child's, those moments become harder to find. It's not that your family means any harm. Everyone tries to be respectful at first. But when several people live under one roof, boundaries naturally blur. Suddenly, you may not have a space that truly feels like your own. Your bedroom becomes your only retreat, and even then, peace is often interrupted by noise, visitors, or activity in the house. You start to realize that your private moments, reading quietly, calling a friend, or simply sitting in silence, now depend on everyone else's schedule. For many seniors, this constant adjustment is exhausting. You begin to hold back small habits that once brought comfort. Maybe you stop playing music at night because the grandkids are asleep. Maybe you hesitate to have a snack late or take a nap when you feel like it. Bit by bit, you find yourself asking permission for things you never used to think twice about. Over time, this loss of privacy can make you feel restless and confined. It's not just about space, it's about identity. Everyone needs a corner of the world that feels fully theirs, where they can think, breathe, and simply be themselves. Without that, you might begin to feel like a guest in your own life. That's why it's so important to consider whether moving in with your children will give you comfort, or quietly take away the peace that comes from having your own space. 4. Financial risks and unintended consequences. When older adults decide to move in with their children, the focus is usually on emotional comfort and family closeness. But one area that often gets overlooked is money. At first, it may feel like a smart decision. You'll save on rent, share household costs, and maybe even help your kids out a little. But what starts as a simple arrangement can quickly turn into a financial situation that's harder than you expected. Many seniors begin contributing to groceries, utility bills, or household repairs without realizing how quickly those small expenses add up. You might buy things for the grandkids or cover unexpected costs just to keep peace in the home. Over time, what was meant to be temporary help can quietly become a regular responsibility. Before you know it, you're spending more than you planned, and your savings start shrinking. There's also the risk of blurring financial boundaries. When money mixes with family life, misunderstandings can happen easily. Maybe your child assumes you'll keep helping, or you feel pressured to give more even when it's uncomfortable. In some cases, older adults even change property titles or share accounts without fully understanding the consequences, something that can cause serious legal or tax problems later on. Beyond the numbers, there's an emotional cost. Losing control over your finances can make you feel dependent or guilty, especially if you've always been self-reliant. It can affect your confidence and even your relationship with your children. You might hesitate to say no, fearing it will cause tension or disappointment. That's why it's so important to protect your financial independence. Be clear about what you can and cannot afford. Discuss everything openly, and never make big financial decisions in a rush or out of guilt. Your money represents years of effort, sacrifice, and planning. It's your security for the future. Keeping that independence isn't selfish. It's one of the best ways to stay in control of your life. 5. Role reversal and identity loss. One of the hardest emotional challenges for many older adults after moving in with their children is the quiet shift in family roles. For decades, you were the parent, the one giving advice, setting rules, and providing guidance. You were the person others turned to for stability and wisdom. But when you move into your child's home, that balance often changes. Without anyone meaning to, you might start feeling like you're the one being looked after, corrected, or managed. This role reversal can be painful, even if no one talks about it. Your children may take charge of your appointments, meals, or routines because they want to help, but each time they do, it reminds you that the control you once had is slipping away. You may notice that your opinions carry less weight in family discussions, or that you're gently told what's best for you, instead of being asked what you truly want. It's not meant to hurt, but it can leave you feeling small, unheard, or unnecessary. Over time, this can begin to affect your identity. The sense of purpose that comes from being a parent, provider, or leader slowly fades. You may start to feel invisible in the very family you built. Even simple things, like offering advice or wanting to help, might be brushed aside, making you feel like your experience no longer matters. This change can lead to deep sadness, frustration, or quiet withdrawal. It's not just about pride, it's about belonging. Every person, no matter their age, needs to feel needed and respected. Losing that role can make life feel empty, even in a full house. That's why it's important to think carefully before giving up your space and independence. Living with your children might mean giving up not just your home, but also the part of yourself that once guided and cared for others. And once that sense of identity fades, it's not easy to get it back. 6. Erosion of relationships and family dynamics. When you move in with your children, it often starts with love, care, and the hope of growing closer. You picture shared dinners, laughter, and meaningful moments together. But what many older adults discover is that living under the same roof can slowly change the way relationships feel. The closeness you wanted can turn into quiet distance, and the love that once felt easy can start to feel heavy. Daily life brings stress for everyone. Your children are balancing work, bills, and raising their own kids. Adding another person to the home, even someone they love deeply, can change the balance. Little things like house chores, meal times, or TV volume can become small battles that no one means to start. And because both sides want to avoid conflict, frustrations often go unspoken. You hold back to keep peace, while they stay quiet out of guilt or exhaustion. Over time, this silence builds walls where warmth used to be. Many older parents begin to feel like they've lost their place in the family. They don't want to be a burden, but they can sense the tension when things feel too crowded or routines clash. Their children, on the other hand, may start feeling pressure they never expected, trying to be both caregiver and parent, all while managing their own lives. This emotional strain affects everyone. You might notice that real conversations start to fade, replaced by polite small talk or quick interactions. Family traditions lose their spark, laughter becomes rarer, and the bond that once felt strong begins to thin out. What's most painful is that this change often happens slowly and quietly, until one day you realize things just aren't the same. That's why setting boundaries, maintaining respect, and having open talks before moving in is so important. Love is precious, but it can't survive constant strain. Sometimes, staying in your own home keeps your relationship stronger, and your heart lighter. 7. Unpredictable endings and loss of control. One of the most difficult truths about moving in with your children is that life can change quickly, and when it does, you might not have much say in what happens next. Even if things start out smoothly, unexpected situations can appear at any time. Your child might lose a job, get transferred to another state, go through a divorce, or face health problems of their own. And when their life changes, so does yours, often in ways you never planned for. Many seniors find themselves unprepared for these shifts. When you live independently, you have control over your choices, you decide when to move, how to spend, and where to go. But when your living situation depends on someone else's stability, you give up a piece of that control. If your child's circumstances change, you could be asked to move again, sometimes with very little notice. That can be stressful and frightening, especially when you've already adjusted to a new routine or environment. There's also the emotional side. You might start feeling like you don't truly belong, especially if space becomes limited or if your presence begins to feel like an extra responsibility. Even if no one says it out loud, you can sense it. That quiet awareness can lead to feelings of uncertainty, anxiety, and even guilt. Consider how much peace comes from knowing your life decisions are still your own. That sense of stability is something every older adult deserves. When you depend too much on someone else's situation, you risk losing that peace. So before making this move, ask yourself, what if things change? Do I have a backup plan? Would I still have the freedom to choose what's best for me? Because as comforting as living with family might seem, the loss of control over your future can leave you feeling unsettled in ways that are hard to recover from. Protecting your independence is not selfish, it's one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and for your family. As we come to the end of this discussion, I want to leave you with something simple but deeply important. Your independence is not just about where you live, it's about how you live. The decision to move in with your children may come from love, concern, or necessity, but it's not a step to take lightly. Every point we talked about, from loss of independence to emotional strain, privacy issues, and financial risks, shows that living together can sometimes take away more peace than it gives. This isn't to say family shouldn't be close. Love, care, and connection are vital, especially as we grow older. But closeness doesn't always mean sharing a roof. Sometimes, living separately but staying emotionally connected keeps relationships stronger, healthier, and happier. When you have your own space, you keep your confidence, your sense of control, and your dignity intact. That balance allows love to grow without the stress of everyday conflicts. If you've already moved in with your children and feel some of these challenges, know that you're not alone. Many seniors across the country face the same struggles silently. The good news is, it's never too late to make adjustments, set gentle boundaries, communicate openly, and make sure your needs are respected just as much as theirs. You've spent a lifetime caring for others, you also deserve care, peace, and respect in return. So, before you make this important choice, or if you're living it right now, ask yourself, am I truly happy this way? Your comfort, independence, and emotional well-being matter. You've earned the right to live life on your own terms. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these reasons spoke to you the most? Have you or someone you know faced these challenges after moving in with family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else make the right choice for their own future. And if you found this message helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us continue to create meaningful content for you.